Episode number 9, Mike Poglese mindset, making the best out of the worst situations. So oftentimes, in life you'll go through something, an event or, something happens to you that just tears you apart, it just fucking breaks you down. And at the time, you're thinking about it and it's easily the worst thing that's ever happened to you, right? Like, think about that for a second. I know every single one of you listening can think about something that has happened to you where you're just like, fuck, man, that was awful. And that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But then, 10 years later, 5 years later, you look back on that event and you're like, fuck, man, I'm so thankful that event happened to me, or that thing happened to me, because without that, I wouldn't be the person I am today, or I wouldn't be right here, right now, where I'm at today. So I want to dive into a little story. So I have a situation myself. So run it back to like 2015, 2016. I got kicked out of college, expelled from college. And at the time, that's right there. It was easily like the worst thing that had ever happened to me. My family was like, man, you're fucked. You're going to be a piece of shit. And, I just kind of felt lost. It was like that time where I was just lost, hopeless, depressed, and I just felt defeated, I didn't feel like there was anything else that I could do to excel within my life. But that obviously wasn't the situation. I took massive action to change my life and just really figure out who the person was that I wanted to be. But at the same time, looking back on that event now, that was easily the best thing that's ever happened to me. It got me out of that normal lifestyle. Like I was about to be fucked, I was about to be trapped into a normal life, like working a 9-to-5 job, which is totally not me. Who knows if I would have ever ended up here on Tybee Island, or, with my girlfriend, or, meeting my business partner, creating my personal brand and all this shit that I've done. Who knows if any of that would have happened? Who knows if I would have done all of the traveling that I've done, because I wouldn't have the vacation time, with my job. So it's just crazy to think about like these situations that are such a huge turning point within our lives, but at the time of the incident, it's like, man, that's fucking awful. Like, this is awful. I can't believe this has happened. And that's just one event that's happened to me, that I can think of how it turned positive. But literally everything that is bad that has happened to me has turned out good. And I mean, it even goes down into crazy shit, like my mom's ex-husband trying to kill her and things like that. I mean, it's amazing when you can find a positive out of a negative situation. But with that being said, I want to ask you something. So what if the worst thing that ever happened to you turns out to be the best thing that ever happened to you? And I know that may sound crazy, especially when these events are recent, when these worst, quote unquote, worst things that happened to you are like today. And you're like, fuck, this is horrible, But I want to just say, like, it's not just me that's experienced this. Like, I have a podcast called the Hustleaholics Podcast, and I've interviewed tons of multimillionaires and entrepreneurs that have billion-dollar businesses and just fucking bigwigs, and they all talk about these same things happening to them. They all talk about some horrible thing that happened to them that was the turning point within their life. Whether it's their childhood, them having a shitty childhood, or, like their wife committing suicide. I mean, just crazy things happening where it's like easily would just tear someone apart, where these people talk about them being the best things that ever happened to them in their lives. So with that being said, I want to make sure that you are making the best out of every single situation. Try and find the positive within every situation. Even if it's extremely negative, I promise you there is some sort of positive that can come out of it. Like I said, I can literally think about everything bad that's happened to me and I can find some positive out of it. Even, like I said, even when it comes to, you know, the horrible events that happened when my mom's husband tried to kill her, and just, you know, all these crazy things. But if that didn't happen right there, I wouldn't have ended up here on Tybee Island. That event drove me out of Virginia. It made me have to leave Virginia. And that's how I ended up here in Tybee Island. So like, that's a huge positive. This place is fucking amazing. I love this place. I've lived here for almost 4 years now. And yeah, I mean, I'm building a family and a future here. But that's the thing is, like I said, there's literally something positive out of every negative situation. So I want you to focus on right here, right now, focus on being present in the moment, and focus on winning the fucking day right now. Start today. Let's fucking get it. Peace.